is a confidence coach for working moms, and she's helping moms to overcome self-doubt to achieve career success without missing precious family moments. Hi, Gosia, how are you?
Hi, Angelica. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited for our chat because I think you have such a powerful story and very, very inspiring, as we talked about this weekend. And, you're a leading example of so much strength as a mom for so many different reasons. And I just want you to take us a little bit back into, your story around, of course, migrating from Poland and with your family, and how did your whole journey started from that point?
Yeah, so my whole transformation and my journey started 8 years ago when I moved from Poland to Australia. And it was a big move for me because I was never in Australia before. And, like Poland is on the other side of the globe. So it was far away. I didn't have any friends in here, any family, no one. And I had very limited English back then. And when I moved, I didn't also have a job. So, like, leaving behind all my family and friends and basically my life there was very stressful. And I moved here with my husband and my son, who was back then just 3.5 years old, so very small boy. So it was just so much stress. And after some time, I really loved Australia because it's so many beautiful people in here and different cultures, which we don't really have in Poland. 8 years ago, when I was still living there, it was a bit different. So, like seeing different kind of lifestyle and different kind of people just made me think, oh, okay, so my life can look a bit different. I can change my life if I want. I don't have to be stuck in the situation that I'm not happy, that I feel like overwhelmed, tired, angry all the time. So after some time, I separated with my husband and I did like a very big move. I moved out from him. I rented my own apartment. And back then I was just 34 years old, and first time in my life I was living by myself. So I was firstly like, oh, like as a baby and teenager, I was living with my parents. Later I moved to uni, so I was living with friends. After I finished uni, I got married and I was living with my husband. So I was never living by myself, and I never realized that. So when I finally like found this apartment and I was in this apartment by myself, I was like, oh wow, this is it. I'm by myself, like really by myself. So it was very difficult moment for me because I was working back then as a dental assistant, which was a funny adventure in my life. My mom, when she heard that I'm a dental assistant, she was like, what? I can't believe it. You hate dentists. And I do, but it's different when you are not a patient.
Yeah,
So yeah,
exactly.
to be honest, it's a lot of fun. So yeah, it was a very stressful moment of my life because I had a small boy with me, so he was my main focus. I just knew that I will do everything to make it work for him, because when my friends and my family, they heard that I'm separated from my husband, first question was always, okay, when you are coming back to Poland? And I loved Australia so much, and I saw so many opportunities in here for my son and for myself. So I knew that it will be difficult, but I will make it work. So I stayed, and I'm so happy I did.
Wow. I mean, there's so many parts of your story that resonate, and I completely, fully understand because, I mean, I'm married to an English guy, and I would always say to him, like, you don't understand what it is like for, somebody who doesn't come from an English speaking country to move to an English
Yeah,
speaking country, right?
yes.
Because especially when you come from, I come from Brazil and Poland, like it's a kind of considered like a third world country. Like, I don't know if Poland is considered that anymore, but like, the economy is not stable. So
Mm,
we get used to a completely different way of living. And I often say to my husband, like in countries like Brazil, and it wasn't like, I wasn't that poor in Brazil. My family was like, we were like mid-class families, but we don't have time to think about like, am I happy? There isn't time for that,
yes.
right? We
Mm-hmm.
don't have time to dwell in life. It's just like get on with life, like you said, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I moved a lot younger than you, moved away from my country. I was 21, but I remember feeling the same, exactly the same as you. I moved from Brazil to Spain and thinking like, wow, like people here, they're kind of free to do whatever they want,
Yes.
like they,
Mm.
especially as a woman, I left Brazil because I didn't want to do what you did, which was get married and have children.
Yeah.
Because that was the expectation, right? Like, okay, so
Yes.
that's what you do. You go from your parents' house
Mm.
to your husband's house, like, and I thought, I don't want to do that. I want to be free first and experience a
Mm.
little bit of life first, and then maybe get married. And that resonated so much with me because I don't know how you feel about this, but even though people are free, I think I still feel that there is still so much pressure in women to go into this conveyor belt, right?
Mhm.
Regardless, if you come from a third world country or first world country, of like, okay, well, you are like in your late 20s now, when are you getting married? When are you having children and all of that? So
Mm.
it's kind of, I felt that after a while, yeah, people are a little bit more free, but I think deep down, women are still going through the same thing as we did in our own countries, living under this pressure,
Mm.
you know,
Yeah.
of like, this is what you've got to do. And don't worry about your own happiness because,
Mhm.
that shouldn't be a priority, right? There's unconscious kind of pressure around that, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. I fully agree with you. I had this in my head for so many years. It was like on the back of my head always that there is a scenario, and I was looking around, and all my friends, they were studying with me, and all of the sudden everyone was engaged, and I was like, oh, probably I should be also. And after they were getting married, and we were going out to wedding after wedding after wedding after wedding. Okay, I have to be next after they had children. So like, and I didn't realize that in this time for me it was just normal and it will be like that and that's it. But when my son was born and I needed also take care of him, and yeah, it was big change for me.
Yeah.
And like I really put myself last, and I even didn't think about myself for so many years, and I got a hiccup. Yeah, so like I know exactly what you are thinking about, what you are talking about, and I understand this so much. Yeah.
And that decision that you made, I mean, I can't imagine how challenging must have been, like now that I'm also a mom, like, and I moved from New Zealand here with my children, with my husband. That was hard enough, like
Mm.
having, just going from New Zealand to here, which is not like going from Poland. And then and again, I've never had any family support like you, and then all of a sudden my family in Brazil was the same. Like, what do you mean you're going to have a child and nobody else is going to help you? And I'm like, yeah. Like, that's what people in first world do, like they don't have
Yeah.
like maids, and like in Brazil you would have somebody, a nanny or something, people to help clean their house or whatever. And
Mm.
I can't imagine how hard it must have been for you to make that decision, and not
Mm.
only to divorce, to get
Yeah.
divorced, but also to stay, because it would have been
Yeah.
much easier just to go home.
Mm. You know what? Like, when I think about this situation, now I understand how hard it was. But in the moment, I was just keep going. I didn't really analyze that this is hard. I was just, okay, this is my reality and I will make it work. And now when I think about it, sometimes it's easier to make like a drastic decision when you are away from your family and away from your friends, because no one is like chatting, oh, you should do this, what are you doing, oh my god, you don't have this noise around you. So it was just me, and of course it was hard, but on the other side maybe it was a little bit easier that I knew that, okay, I just block the noise because I don't really have this noise in here. If someone is calling me from Poland, I don't have to pick up. They are not sitting next to me and I have to listen to them. So I felt like I'm more free and I can really like think, okay, Gosia, what you want to do now? Like, this is
Mhm.
it. This is your life, like new beginning, new chapter. And you can really write your story from very beginning. And it's totally up to you how you do it. So it was really a lot of freedom for me at this
Mhm.
stage. Yeah, it was hard. Don't get me wrong, it was. But also, yeah, it was really like I felt empowered at some stage. Yeah.
Yeah, it gives me goosebumps when you say, like, you ask that question. So now, Gosia, what do you want out of life?
Mm,
I think we women, especially after you have children, you just go through the automatic pilot thing and in that conveyor belt, and you never ask yourself, what do you actually want?
yes.
And for me, it took cancer, and for you, it took the divorce, right?
Mm,
You
mm.
mentioned a little bit earlier, like, I kind of had this hiccup. It was that, would you say the divorce was that thing that happened in your life, or did something else happen before that?
No, it was like I think when I was in Poland already, my marriage wasn't going in the direction that I wanted, but I I think I didn't want to see it. It was easier not to see it and just ignore all the signs. But in here, when it was only us and the whole moving situation was so stressful, I just could clearly see, oh, okay, so this is how my life will look like. And I could see those other people happy, joyful, and like really energized. And I was like, I want that. And no one will give it to me. I have to give it to myself. So this was like a big aha moment for me. Oh, Gosia, no one will come to you and this is your life, be happy. No, I
Yeah.
have to make it work for myself. And it took me years. It wasn't like a quick fix overnight. And I had some bumps on the way, so it was a process, it was a journey. But I would like when I look now back, I would make the same decision, like I don't regret this decision, even it was so hard at this moment. I'm happy that I did it. Yeah.
Yeah. And when we connected this weekend, it was really powerful to hear, the mindset that you had around, still creating a healthy and happy environment for your son despite
Mm,
of the divorce.
yeah.
And I must admit, I was blown away by your courage, by your, the unconditional love, by your confidence, by what you said to me. I was like, wow, I have never heard anybody saying that in my whole entire life.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
So tell us, what you went through in that period of your life.
Yeah, so when I decided to separate with my husband, now ex-husband, of course it was like very stressful and difficult situation for him and for me, and we had so much tension between us. But we agreed from the beginning, and it was like very important for me that this is messed up situation from the start, so our son is the most important. We can have different kind of feelings towards each other, but we will never put this on our son because this is difficult enough for him anyways. So like I always put my son first, and he is the most important to me. And this was so clear that I will never play using him to get something from my ex-husband or to make him upset or whatever. No, it was like two separate things. Here was my son, the most important, and here was all the divorce separation happening. So and we did it, and I never like as we had a chat, like sometimes when parents are getting divorced, they are so angry with each other, and we were angry with each other, don't get me wrong, like it wasn't like flowers and rainbows. It wasn't like that, but we were so conscious how we talk when he's standing next to us, or if I'm talking with him on the phone and my son is around playing. I was never like getting into some argument or getting upset. Never. When I had some tension and some feelings that I needed to tell him, to my ex-husband, I was waiting to the moment that my son is sleeping. So I was like very conscious that my son is around me and he's watching every second and he's watching me everywhere. So and it made we made it work. So like now we are not together for years and we still respect each other with my ex-husband, and my son like can freely say what he's doing with his dad, what he's doing with his mom. Like for him, his reality having two homes, I'm hoping like it's not a trauma situation. This is what I wanted to avoid.
Wow, that is just incredible. I mean, I have seen personally, with friends and also like with clients, the baggage that comes out of a divorce
Yeah.
situation, and then the trauma that is passed on to the children,
Mm.
and adults not behaving like adults and dragging the
Yes.
children. And look, I can't imagine how hard it is, but you are living proof that it's possible to do it.
Yeah.
You're living proof that, and it's not like you said that, it's not like you suppressed all your feelings and your opinions, but you just
Mm.
did it appropriately, not when your son was next to you.
Yes. Yes.
And it's really probably easy to just scream and shout when like because you're so angry, or let
Mm.
the anger take over. But like I said, your son is a separate, like
Yes.
he didn't, he's in his own journey.
Mm.
And it's not, it's not that it's nothing to do, but like the issues is between you and your ex-husband, right? And
Yes.
I must admit that, regardless of what happens, I think I wish more parents that got divorced had the courage to behave like that, because that would, especially with the rates of divorce, that would help, us as a society passing on this generational trauma that we are
Yes.
passing on to children, right?
Yes, exactly. I think very important when people are getting divorced is that they have to realize, if they have kids, that they have to build totally new relationship, because they are not together anymore, but they still have kids together. So they have to build not marriage, but some kind of relationship for in this new situation for their kids. And for me, respect was very important, because my son is seeing us, and he has mom, he has dad, and I'm so grateful, because some parents, they are getting divorced, and I don't know, mom is taking kids away from the dad, and they never have like good relationship with dad or the other side. And I don't see this beneficial, because I truly believe that kids should have both parents,
Mm.
even if they are not together anymore. And like you said, like, we are grown-ups, we are like adults in this situation, and we have to put an effort to make it work for our kids.
Yeah, I should have titled our talk about how to navigate the divorce without the self-doubt and guilt, because I think it's so beautiful. And we talked about, you sharing more of this part of your story, as I believe that so many, women and even maybe men as well, like, are in the situation and they don't know how. They might have this intention in their heart, but they don't
Mm,
know how to do it,
yeah,
because, like I said, you were still navigating, and and I think we learn so much from other people who have gone through
yeah.
challenges that we are going through at the moment.
Mm.
So how old is your son now?
He's 12 years old now. Yeah,
Wow.
he's
Wow.
much bigger. Yeah,
Yeah.
growing so fast.
Yeah. And how would you say, how is he now, like, in the relationship with you, with your ex-husband, and I know that you've got a new husband, right? And
Yes. Yeah. New partner, not husband, not
okay.
married anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have a child together. So now I have two boys. One, Zach, is 2 years old, and Wojtek is 12. So there is like a 10 years gap between them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Wojtek is great, like, really. And to give you example about this new relationship with his dad, my ex-husband, is that now he's back in Poland visiting his family. And he live very close to us, because it's easier like that with logistics, because we have shared care. 1 week he's with him and 1 week with me, so he has like both parents really like a lot, I would say. So now when he's in Poland for 5 weeks, we are going with my son watering his plants. So, like, because this is my son's other home, and he has his stuff there, he has his plants there. So, like, when they asked me if I will drive him to water plants, I was like, my first reaction was like, of course, like, I don't see any issue with that, because I want to like show him that yeah, this respect is so important, and I'm hoping that he will take that kind of lessons later in life to his relationships. So yeah, he's good.
Amazing, amazing. That's so beautiful to hear. And I think, like you don't have to start there, like you're saying, at the beginning, maybe, watering the plants would have been a bit much, but like,
Yeah.
you build to that, right? Like you
Yes.
build up to that, which is so beautiful.
Mm.
And then now, like with this passion and mission that you have in your heart to help, moms to overcome the self-doubt and the guilt, like tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, because of my life experience, and I went through a lot in my mind, I think, and it changed me so much. When I remember myself from being in Poland or getting through this whole divorce situation, I was so like insecure. I didn't like really believe in myself. I was overwhelmed all the time, like tired, stressed, angry. I was so angry, and like I decided that I don't want to feel like that anymore. That it's up to me how I get up every day, how I feel, how I'm showing for my new partner, for my children. It's really up to me, and it's going like from inside. So before my second son was born, I started be interested in personal development. Like everyone was talking about it. I just could like hear some stuff. I was like, what is it? I never was interested in that before. Like for me, it was like some woohoo, like meditation. What is it? Like it's not me. But I started listening some podcasts, talking to people, and I always felt like a deep need to help other people, but I didn't know how I can do it. And in my mind, you needed to go really like traditional way, be a doctor, be a dentist, be a lawyer, something like that. But I never really wanted to go this direction. But finally, I found a coaching school, 𝗕𝗢𝗢𝗖𝗓 coaching school. And when I saw the ad on Instagram, I was like, oh my God, this is it. Like it was my sign, really, like from the movie. I can't even like explain that. Never happened to me before. And I started reading what is this life coaching about, because I wasn't really familiar back then. What is it about? And I was like, wow, so this is helping other people in different way. I don't have to be a doctor to help other people. I can talk to them. I can like hear their stories, and this is the way that I can help. I can help through my story, through my experience, like all together combined can help so many women. And like from the start, I knew that I want to work with women because of my situation. I feel like I really understand the struggles that they have, what they bother him every day, like really deeply, because I was also there, and because I knew that I changed. I'm like a living proof that you can. So I want to like really help them and guide them and show them that their life can be different. They can be happy. They can be joyful. It's really possible.
Yeah. I love what you said. Like when I had this anger problem as well. And I think you don't realize as a woman that,
Yeah.
when you're not happy and when you are giving all of you to others,
Mhm.
you are left with nothing. And then anger it starts, coming
Yeah.
out because you're
Mhm.
like, you start resenting everyone and everything. And because you have nothing left.
Yes.
And we're led to believe that this is the only way to live because perhaps our moms lived like that, like
Mhm.
my mom certainly gave her all to everybody and never put herself first.
Mhm.
And there is another way, there is a way to find balance and to reconcile all the priorities and to show up in a different way, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. For me, the reason was my son. I always wanted to show him happy mom, joyful mom, not angry and frustrated and overwhelmed. Because I remember one time I was going to him to the car, driving somewhere, and in my head, I was in pretty good state, and he just looked at me, and he was just, I don't know, like 3 years old or something like that. And he said to me, "Mom, why are you so angry all the time?" And it really, like, it was a moment for me. Oh my God, I thought that I have a good day today, you know? And I think, like, when I look back, it was the moment like, oh wow, something is not right in here. Like, it's not working how it should be. And I really, I really believe that our kids, they are learning by watching us. We can say whatever we want to them, but they can, like, hear with one ear and like, okay, 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 mom. But they're really watching us, and they are learning by watching our example. And I was like, I have to be a good example for him. I have to show him that it's up to him to create his own life, his own happiness. What he will do with it, I don't have any, you know, like, he will do whatever he wants, but at least I will sleep, like, peacefully at night, that I did everything what I could. And I'm hoping that he will take this example.
Yeah, this is so true. And I must admit that I had similar experience, after I had my cancer
Mm,
treatment, just like watching my children, thinking like I need to change fundamentally who I am as a person on a day-to-day basis, because whoever I have been, kind of the way that I've been behaving up to now, it's modeling a behavior that I don't want to see my
mm,
children modeling when they grow up. And I
yes.
think that's the only way to change a generation, is by changing ourselves
Mm,
and just leading by an example. And like I said, you can be talking about whatever you want to do, like, but if you're eating crap food and you're asking them to eat vegetables,
mm,
they're going to be like, why are you eating McDonald's and you're asking me to eat vegetables? Like, you have,
mm,
and emotionally is the same way, right? Like
yeah.
and they are sponges. They can feel, like I said, even that day that you felt good,
Mm.
he's been thinking about that for a while because he knew it.
Yes, yeah. And they can see things very clearly. They don't overthink it. They just see something and they are saying that. So it was, I knew that this is true, that he didn't say it because of something. He just said what he sees. So I was like, wow, this is big. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. So Gosia, how can women reach out to you and to work with you, and tell us a little bit more about how they can get in
Yeah.
contact with you?
Yeah, so I'm so happy if any women who resonated today with our conversation and can, like, see themselves in that kind of situations, are ready to change something, because some of them, they are not ready yet, and that's okay. I wasn't ready for years. There need to be some kind of this aha moment to start. So if you are ready and you would like to start with me, you can find me on Instagram, and I think you will link my handle. So it's Gosia_life coach. So I'm always there. If you DM me, come and see my page and look what I'm talking about. We can have a conversation. And yeah, this is my favorite part of my work, to see how my clients are changing. They are coming so frustrated, overwhelmed, angry. Like we were talking, like everything what we were talking today, all the feelings are very strong, especially with us working moms, when we are so busy and we really put ourselves last. And at the end of the day, we are going to bed so tired and yeah, and overwhelmed, and we are thinking like, what is going wrong? I'm doing everything what I should, and something is not there. Like, I'm not happy, I'm not joyful, I have, I don't know, nice family, nice kids, but something is not working. So if you want to change it, yeah, just come to my Instagram and start the conversation.
Awesome. Well, I'll definitely add your handles. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so much.
sharing your story. You are such an amazing example of, even with all the challenges. And I know the divorce can be one of the biggest traumatic events that one can
Mhm.
go through, but you are a leading example of what's possible. It doesn't have to be the way that our society,
Yes.
it tells us that it needs to be, right. It can be in a different way. And I'm so happy that we connected. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Angelica. Thank you so much for inviting me. It was my pleasure. Thank you.